And I'm going to talk about something that could be a little bit scary today. That's errors and uncertainties in measurements. Making measurements is one of the most important parts of science. To discover new facts, we change one thing, one variable, what we call the independent variable, and we see how that affects another variable. We call that the dependent variable. All the while, we try to keep other variables that could change constant. We call these controls. The problem is that no matter how good a scientist you are or how good your equipment is, you're never going to be able to make measurements that are perfectly accurate. Think about this ruler. What's the smallest bit that I can measure with this? Well, it's 1 millimeter. We call this the resolution. That's the smallest step or the smallest bit or smallest change that a piece of equipment can measure. The resolution of this 30 centimeter ruler is 1 millimeter. Some people think that you can tell when something is directly between two lines on a ruler. So that means that you could measure something to 0.5 millimeters. That's not a great way of going about things for a couple of reasons. So we're going to stick with the idea that you can only make measurements to the same accuracy as the resolution of the piece of equipment that you're using. More often than not though, you will measure something with a ruler and the edge of it does fall between two lines on the ruler. Can you tell which line it's closer to? Well, not always. So what we say is that there is an uncertainty in the measurement. The edge of this block falls between 49 and 50 millimeters. I think it's closer to 50 millimeters. So I'm going to say that the width of this block is 50 millimeters, but I have to say that there is an uncertainty of 1 millimeter in my reading. It is also acceptable to say that the uncertainty is half a millimeter. But to be on the safe side, I'm going to say that the uncertainty is 1 millimeter. We write the uncertainty after our measurement. So I can say the width of my block is 50 plus or minus 1 millimeter. We always write an uncertainty like this, even if we think that the number is more likely to be bigger than smaller, or vice versa. Uncertainties can also be due to random error. This can be sometimes due to the equipment that you use, but more often than not is down to human error. For example, let's say that I want to time how long it takes for this pendulum to complete 3 swings or 3 oscillations. If I time it with a stock clock, I'm never going to get a perfect reading, but rather I'm going to get a reading that has an error. Error means how far away your measurement or reading is from the true or actual value. It sounds bad, but that's okay. There's always going to be an error, but there are some things that we can do to reduce the effect of this random error. Instead of doing this once, I can do it a number of times. I can do it, let's say, 5 times. My 5 readings are not going to be the same due to random error, but that's okay. Even though there'll always be a random error, a good scientist will always try to reduce random error. One thing that we could do with this is have a slow-mo camera, for example, or a light gate. Sticking with my 5 times though, what I can do is calculate a mean average of them in order to reduce the effect of random error. However, there is one time that stands out like a sore thumb. We call this an anomaly or an anomalous result. You can see that it obviously doesn't fit. Something went wrong during my timing. I don't know what it was, but I know that that isn't right. It would be silly to include that in my calculation to find the average. So we're going to leave it out or omit it. So to get an average of my other 4 readings, I add them all up and then divide by the number of readings. That's 4. It's worth remembering though that your mean or average reading needs to be to the same number of significant figures as your individual ones. As per usual though, we can't just leave it there. We need to be honest about our result and say that there's an uncertainty in our mean. To find the uncertainty in the mean, all we do is take the range, that's the biggest number, take away the smallest number, and divide by 2. If you're drawing a graph of your results and you find that all of your points are all over the place and they don't sit on the line of best fit very well, that means that you had a lot of random error in your experiment. If they're all sitting quite close or on the line of best fit, then that means that your random error is quite small. While I have the pendulum here though, it's worth mentioning parallax error. When you want to line up something with something else, let's say that I want to see when the pendulum crosses the midpoint here, that's where the clamp stand is, the retort stand, then I need to be at the right perspective. If I turn the retort stand sideways, then obviously you're not going to see exactly when it crosses that midpoint. And this also goes for when you are measuring distances with a ruler. If I'm measuring this block with a ruler, I want to make sure that the ruler is as close to the block as possible. If I'm measuring something with the ruler quite far away from the object, then obviously I'm going to get parallax error because I can move my head and it's going to look like the edge of the block lines up with the wrong number. There is another type of error too though. Let's say you're measuring the block again, but you forget that it's the 0 on the ruler that needs to be lined up with the left edge here of the block, and you accidentally line up the edge of the ruler with it. That means that every single one of your readings from this point onwards is going to be a few millimeters too small. All your readings are going to have the same error. We call this a systematic error. An example of this could be when your thermometer has a bubble in the liquid inside. That means that the top of the liquid isn't going to be at the right place. Therefore, you have a systematic error. Or maybe when you're using a measuring cylinder, you forget that you're supposed to be measuring to the bottom of the meniscus and you measure to the top instead. Another classic is when you're measuring the extension of a spring and you measure the whole length of the spring, when in fact all you want is how much further it has extended. And so you need to subtract the original length of the spring, or just line your ruler up with the 0 mark at the bottom of the spring, ready for when it extends. Systematic errors can often be due to 0 error. Just like with our ruler, we didn't line up the 0 with the first edge of the block. That means that there is a 0 error there. But it can happen for other pieces of equipment as well. Here I have a micrometer. When the jaws of this micrometer are touching, it should read 0 millimeters. But actually what we can see is that it's not on 0 when they're closed. It's actually 1/100th of a millimeter out. That might not seem like a big deal, but when you're measuring the width of very thin wires, it can make a very big difference. Another example is when you're using a top pan balance and you're measuring something like powder and you want to use a weighing boat to do that. If I turn my balance on and then I put my weighing boat on, well, that has a mass of its own. If I start putting powder in my weighing boat now, then obviously the reading that's on the balance isn't going to be the mass of my powder, but rather the weighing boat and the powder together. What we have to do is make sure that we zero or tear the balance before we put the powder in. So with my weighing boat on, I'm going to tear it, and it's now 0. Whatever I put into the weighing boat now, the reading on the balance is going to be the mass of just that. When you draw a graph of your results and your line of best fit doesn't look like it goes through 0, 0, also called the origin, don't try and force it through there. That's bad science. You always want to follow the trend of your points. However, if you believe that your results should go through the origin, but they don't, and your line of best fit is shifted up or down, then that probably means that you had a systematic error in your experiment. You might be thinking, what's the point of all this? Why do we care so much about uncertainties and errors? Well, in the real world, they're actually very, very important. If you make a plane, the parts that you make have to be measured to such an accurate size that if there's an error of, say, 0.1%, then your plane won't fly. The electronics in your phone are so finely tuned that if the current from your battery fluctuated even just a little bit, then you've just got a very expensive paperweight on your hands. Life can be pretty uncertain, and so that means that science can be too. But if you're aware of that, then you can carry out experiments that give you results that you can trust just that little bit more.